Do the thing. How many broken promises do you have for yourself? That is what you need to pay your attention to. And that is what's coming between you and your soft life. Baby, you can't be soft when you have all of these untied obstacles and tasks that you've never finished, and you feel a whole bunch of weight and pressure on you and you don't even know why. Life seems like it's going great, except for the fact that you never did what you promised to yourself. Honestly, I think that you deserve better than that. Hello, welcome back. I want to go ahead and set the intention to clear the air so that we can get all the beautiful messages from the divine today before we get into our discussion. So let's go ahead and do that. I, for one, love this topic because I enjoy truly watching other women enter their soft life era. And I've also noticed that there are some women that have a lot of pushback when it comes to soft life, even now to this day. Before we really dive in, let's kind of touch on the definition or what I believe soft life to be. Yeah, let's talk about it. Because somewhere along the lines, soft life became an aesthetic instead of a reality. And you know, I like to dive into the real over here. In observing some of these stories, I noticed it became an excuse to be rescued instead of a path of deep trust, peace, and ease. Let me be real with you. You can't live a soft life if you're sabotaging. So today I'm sharing 5 ways you might be sabotaging or destroying your soft life without even realizing it. This is for the women that want more, but is ready to be honest with herself first. So let's go ahead and begin. In these little chats, I want you to know that everything that I talk about, it's always going to be about you, ladies. It's about us. It's about your inner self. It is about you reaching your divinity and your femininity and ease. We influence the world so much more than we believe that we do. So I want you to remember, you can't live a soft life if your inner self doesn't trust you. Now I'm going to drag you, okay? But I want to let you know that as I drag you, it's because I've already been through this, and it's not an intentional hate train drag. It's just going to feel like a drag because for some reason when I tell the truth, it always feels like a drag to some people, okay? But before I get into you, let me go ahead and share with you how I know what I'm talking about. I used to work out, but when I wasn't eating right or I wasn't consistent, I would show up for the part that felt good, but not for the part that required integrity. And the more I broke those promises, the less I trusted myself. I knew I should have been eating healthy. I knew I should have been consistent. I knew I should have been stretching. I knew I should have been massaging myself after my workouts, but I was refusing to do it. And even though it didn't seem like an outright refusal, it was still refusal because I would come up with these excuses as to why I could not do those things. Whole Foods is a little bit too expensive for me. I can't go and spend that much money on healthy food and only eat healthy food. I'm gonna be hungry. I have a child to feed and I don't have time to look for new recipes. All excuses. I wasn't connected and dedicated to the reality of why I was doing what I was doing. It was coming off extremely surface. It wasn't until I was in a gym and I was getting my butt kicked that I realized I have to do something about this. It's taking me forever to get through my sets. I am in excruciating pain when I'm done. I need to see it through and look at the face of uncomfortability and go through that door. I began to eat better. I prepped meals before I went to the gym. Instead of eating something so that I was full and I didn't experience hunger, I began to incorporate things that added nutrients into my body. So for instance, sweet potatoes. I would bake sweet potatoes with olive oil or avocado oil, and I would eat that before my set, and I would have a great workout session. Seriously, you all, everything was just moving so smoothly. I realized I was being hard-headed to my detriment. I wasn't trusting myself to know that I was able to do what I set out to do, and I could do it in a less painful way. I was my own personal enemy. Saying that I was going to go to the gym and I was going to work out well and I was going to make sure that I was being safe in the gym and I was going to be consistent. When I dedicated myself to the process, that is when I began to see real results. Building that foundation for myself in my life, it showed me that I trusted myself a little bit more. When I said I was going to get up and do something and I actively did it, I felt better about myself. I felt better within myself. When we think about all the things that we say we're going to do, now I'm going to call you out, girl. You said you were going to have this amazing skincare routine, and here we are in the summer. You're supposed to be out here barefaced, loving every inch of that natural skin, and you didn't do it. But the soft life doesn't begin with a skincare routine. It begins with internal trust. So if you're out here talking to the divine, asking God for help, feeling like you're alone, feeling like your ancestors aren't there, feeling like Jesus is not coming to save you, it's because you silenced yourself, your inner voice, your intuition so much that you don't know how to reach it again. Because you have proved to yourself over and over, time after time, that you're not going to listen. You're not going to show up. You're not going to do the action. You're not going to make your own internal self, your own higher self, feel secure in you. But here and yet, you're looking for security outside of yourself, and you feel like everything around you is betraying you, and it's not. It started with you. You're betraying yourself. Those minuscule things that you think are so small and it's not a big deal, those things that you tell yourself and you think it's not a big deal. If you said you wanted to go and do pottery, go do pottery. Get up, get the phone, look for a class, get your butt on Groupon, and go figure out where you can do a pottery class. If you said that you're going to take a solo vacation, go take a solo vacation, look up YouTube videos and figure out exactly where you want to go, listen to other people's experiences, be smart, do the thing. How many broken promises do you have for yourself? That is what you need to pay attention to. And that is what's coming between you and your soft life. Baby, you can't be soft when you have all of these untied obstacles and tasks that you've never finished, and you feel a whole bunch of weight and pressure on you and you don't even know why. Life seems like it's going great, except for the fact that you never did what you promised to yourself. Honestly, I think that you deserve better than that. The inner you, your higher self, your inner child, deserves someone better than the person that you're presenting to be right now. You have to get up, you have to finish the task, or close it out entirely. But I think that you should focus more on getting the experience of the things that you say you want to do, because your spirit wants to experience that. Think about a time that you went somewhere with your parents and you wanted to experience something on that trip or on that journey, and it just happened to be a journey that you weren't happy with in the beginning. You didn't want to go to the grocery store with them, but you saw the bubblegum machine and you wanted to get some bubblegum and they didn't want to give you a quarter. How did you feel? That is how your soul feels every single time you say you're going to do something and you know you're not. That's not right. So if your intuition is quiet, it's probably because she doesn't trust you to follow through. Stop looking outside of yourself for the answers. Your intuition has been speaking to you. You've just trained yourself not to listen. If you still don't know what to do, pick something. Now, I'm not going to call you out and leave you stranded, girl. We have some reflection questions, okay? So where in your life have you confused productivity with self-abandonment? Go ahead and journal that and figure that out, okay? Let's get down to the source. Now, in our last chat, I brought men up and I said some things that now that I'm reviewing some of my short form content, they are pissed, girl. I don't want to put out the narrative that I don't like men. Am I lying? I don't know. I don't want to lead with the narrative that I don't like men as a whole. There are some characteristics of male behavior that I seriously dislike and find incredibly disgusting. And there are women who a lot of us will call pick-me-shas that align with those men, and they are heavily influenced by them, and they continue to perpetuate this nasty little cycle that harms women. And a lot of them are so selfish that they believe they are the exception, and they're not. That is a very naive conception to have. And for people to be in their grown age believing this is baffling. I do want to say that I'm still going to speak and I'm going to say what I want to say, because at the end of the day, I've done the inner work, and I can tell that a lot of people that are trying to address me have not. We're going to continue on the process, because in order for me to help a lot of you all that actually want the help to visualize what I'm saying, there has to be a comparison. There has to be some type of aspect where you get what I'm saying by bringing up the opposite sex. I'm not going to dance around and omit certain things from my conversation. We're not going to do that. Nobody is going to bully me into silence. Okay. So take what you will from that. But here we go. A man is not the soft life. You are. A lot of women think that being taken care of equates a soft life. This simply is not true for many, many reasons. This is not to say that women that are being taken care of aren't living a soft life. This is just to say that that shouldn't be your end all be all. Many times women get dazed into this fantasy world and they can only see the good. And then we get into this fantasy world, which feels like a nightmare, where we only see bad. You always want to be 10 steps ahead. You always want to be able to make sure that you have a plan A, B, and C, just in case. Even if you have a great guy, because you never know what may happen. And the last thing you want to do is end up in a situation that could have been avoided. Now, if you're going to go through these situations in life because it's a part of your divine plan, then so be it. But do everything that you can to make sure that you're good, stable, and safe. Because let me tell you, if a man is your only plan, you're not soft. You're stuck. At any point in time, he can decide that he's done with you and send you on your way. And when you think about it like that, when you think about what you come into this relationship, or even when you come into marriage, a lot of women marry into high profile marriages and get hit with a prenup, and they're not able to get paid out unless they provide an heir. Really look at how many women even have that opportunity, right? If you haven't already, take a look at the Netflix show Siren. Absolutely enjoyed that show. Even with the lack of Black presence. There was probably one Black person there, and I would forget that she was there because she was so high yellow. I enjoyed underlying story because it tells you something about exactly what I'm saying. Some women are very successful and they have prestige, they have their degree, and then they get swept off their feet and they allow him to whisk her away. Doesn't it sound like a Disney movie? She allows him to whisk her away, and to the point that they've been together for many years. She may have aged. She may have lost her luster. She may have let her license expire. All these different things, and does not have enough saved up to continue this life of luxury. You want to continue the process, right? You also want to put yourself in position where if anything happens that's ill-fated with this man, you want to be able to leave at a drop of the dime, honey. If you can't leave the second that he does a non-negotiable or the second that he disrespects you, you are already in a pickle. Now you have to rush to try to get your stuff together so that you can get out of that predicament. I'm aware that when I say this, in the wrong hands will perpetuate this cycle of believing that you have to be the strong, independent woman and never receive anything from a man and be completely blocked off and never be taken care of. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, baby, is be smart. There's a difference between receiving from a man and needing a man. And I know some of you yearn for that feeling of needing someone. You want to feel like you need him, but that is a trap. You do not want that dynamic, and you will find out why if you ever end up in that dynamic. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to leave your man. I'm not telling you to stick with your man. I'm not telling you to stop looking for your man. You are going to do whatever you want to do because, girl, you hard-headed. I know you hard-headed. Sometimes these girls want to fight tooth and nail with me in the comments, and I'm like, wow, this information is here to help you, and you're fighting me. You're already deranged. I cannot help you. And that is exactly why, if you want any type of coaching from me, you have to take the readiness survey. It's going to be down in the description below, okay? Before I have any type of face-to-face with you, I need to know if I even have the capacity to help you. Because I know there's a lot of people I can't help. And I'm not going to try to save everybody. That's not even my mission. When I was young and naive, that was my mission. No longer. Because you all will fight tooth and nail to be abused. You will fight tooth and nail to allow someone you love that's a woman like you to be abused. And that is not what I'm perpetuating. That cycle is done. That's how I keep my soft life. A soft woman knows how to fund herself. She's made her life so secure that if a man comes in, it's a bonus, not a ball out. Now, I know that there are some insecure men that aren't able to take a woman that is so successful and has all of this stuff going on, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I get it. You just need to know how to move. But irregardless, if you make the man your lifeline, you're giving him the power to choose your level of ease. And baby, that is not softness to me. That is a setup. The true soft life includes freedom of choice. You deserve to say no, not because you're angry, but because you're aligned. Whoop, girl, this is my favorite one. Celibacy. I already know when people see this, they're gonna think that I'm some crazed religious person. I'm not. I really feel like my freedom came from being celibate. And that celibacy didn't come from shame. It came from clarity. I must admit, I was younger once. I thought that celibacy was to preserve my body and not allow my body count to go up and all of this ridiculous nonsense, right? And after some time, I realized that really isn't the case. That's not what it's about. It got to a point that my spirit just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't align myself with men that I understood at a certain point weren't for me. Not that they were bad or horrible men. Yeah, they made some mistakes, and some of the mistakes were stupid. At the same time, I just understood that I was no longer aligned with this individual. Whatever it was that I needed to understand and learn, I did that. I learned that. And even though this person was willing to step up to the plate and do everything that he needed to do to show up and be this great guy, even if he was a great guy, he still wasn't my guy. There's a lot of women out here that are in long-term relationships or even married that are married to the guy that they know is not their guy. And I don't really know how to explain that to someone that has not experienced it. You just know. And to share my body with this person, it felt like a betrayal to myself. And that's something that we're not doing anymore. It's not because I hate men or I hate this or I hate that. Nothing was rooted in hate because it was rooted in the lack that I had within myself. The fact that I was aligning to someone and sharing my body with someone that no longer deserved access. No matter how good or whatever it was, they no longer deserved access to me. And I was sharing a piece of myself that in that moment, I wasn't 100% sure what I was sharing, but I knew they just didn't deserve that sort of closeness. I believe that the unknowing of what I was sharing was because I believed it to not be a big deal. If I wanted pleasure, I should be able to experience pleasure. And that's kind of where it stopped. And I always led with wanting a relationship. I wanted somebody that was going to invest in me, invest in us, and grow together and have this connection with each other. But there were a lot of things that I needed to sort out within myself. And in order to do that, there was this spiritual invoking of becoming celibate. It was daunting. I was intimate with a person that I genuinely cared about and who was good to me on many occasions. But even in that moment, I felt disgusted. Not because he did anything wrong, but because my spirit knew that he just wasn't my person. That's when it hit me. You can't offer your body as some sort of peace offering when your soul is screaming no. Sexual freedom doesn't mean sleeping with whoever you want. Also, it doesn't mean shaming your own desires. It means being able to choose from clarity, not confusion. I feel turned on when it's right, not just because it's familiar or because you're afraid of being alone. Choosing celibacy after having that epiphany with myself opened up a new world for me. It completely recalibrated my whole internal system. Everything that turned me on, it did not turn me on anymore. And it made me realize after the fact of 3 years of celibacy, getting clear with myself what I wanted, who I wanted, and why I wanted it was what put me in alignment with my spirit and my body and being able to enjoy intimacy is heavily tied to you, not tied to the person. And I feel as women, we often get drug into this emotional battle and turmoil within ourselves when it comes to dealing with whoever we're interested in. We find ourselves feeling guilty not sharing our body when they want our body. And in celibacy, true celibacy, not forcing yourself because of men and not forcing yourself because you want to feel like a virgin or preserve yourself or be able to say you have a low number, not for any of those reasons. When you're able to be in relationship after going through purification, even when you're in relationship with a significant other, you don't feel obligated to share your body when you are not comfortable to do so. And you don't have worry, you don't have fear, you just understand that you're in a space where you have not been courted or you have not been understood, you have not been heard, you have not experienced vulnerability in the relationship or connection. There's something that you need and it's not being given, and you're not able to open your legs if it's not there. Not out of spite, not out of anger, not out of anguish or resentment, because you honor yourself, you honor your temple. You're not able to share the most intimate parts of yourself and lie to yourself and tell your soul, your spirit, that you're okay with doing something that you know you're not okay with doing. Your spirit should be connected to you when you are engaging in intimacy with someone. You should be able to say, I'm comfortable in being in this moment with this person. And if you can't, then you have to think, why are you betraying yourself? So I'm proud of that time period. It was not a hard time period for me. I wasn't busting at the seams or anything. I just found myself in a cool softness, and I was able to calmly be able to choose the right partners that I wanted to share my intimacy with. Not because I had to, but because I couldn't do performative intimacy anymore. It had to be real and it had to be mutual. Most importantly, it had to be led by spirit. Stop shaming yourself for intimacy. There is a lot of spirituality and spiritual essence when you're intimate. Just make sure that your mind, body, and spirit are all in tune and connected when you choose. With this one, I am seeing this a lot on this year's Love Island. This is the first time I've ever watched Love Island. So, baby, I am shooketh. I have clenched my pearls plenty of times. I was not expecting this. Projecting on others while you're avoiding accountability. When you haven't dealt with your own reflection, you attack someone else's. I'm aware that this is prevalent everywhere. This is single, relationship, not even dating, never had a relationship, married. All different women exhibit this behavior. But the ones that I see exhibit this behavior the most are the ones that think that they're perfect, or the ones that think that they figured it all out. Particularly married women. Some of the loudest critics of femininity are women who are married that feel entitled to talk down on single women, especially single women who are healing. And this is why a lot of people can't find unity, because you're attacking this person feels like every single person in a marriage or a relationship has this aspect or this behavior because they've been attacked before, and it's just messy, girl. It is so messy. But I've noticed this, and I've especially noticed this with people that don't know my relationship status. And I think that's why I like to keep a lot of things close to chest. I'm not loud and boisterous about everything that I have going on, for instance, Instagram. If you look at my Instagram page and you just look at my pictures, you wouldn't even be able to tell that I'm in a relationship or that I'm engaged, right? That's something that's very telling. When people don't know your position and you see their bad behavior, you're able to understand that person's character, because a lot of people unite because they're in the same boat. It doesn't matter if you're in the same boat or not. You still need to be checking people's character. Just because you're all married does not mean that you're all aligned. Or maybe you are. Maybe you guys think that it's cute to beat up and berate other women that aren't where you are, or to assume that other women want what you have. Every woman doesn't want to be married, and I don't care how much sense people try to make of it. A lot of women don't want to be married. Trying to put your value system and your belief systems on somebody else is just nasty work. I will be the first to tell you, just because a person has a ring does not mean they have any wisdom. I have heard a lot of stupid stuff come out people's mouths that I thought should be mature enough to be married. And that was what I had to figure out in my early 20s. Just because people are married does not mean they did the work to get married. And I couldn't fathom that because I have my own standard. I was also projecting through my own moral lens. I felt like I'm not going to get married unless I'm ready. I kind of think like a man a little bit. You hear men say this a lot. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I didn't feel like I was ready. Meanwhile, there were girls around my age range that were just dying to get married, but they felt like a ring made them a wife. And a ring doesn't make you a wife. Integrity makes you a wife. Patience, wisdom, deliberation, discernment, compassion, nurture, understanding, self-love, those things make you a wife. God dang it, maturity. I feel like all of those things will add up to maturity, but a lot of women don't have it. They feel like the man should conform to them in marriage, and that's the only way that you're going to have a peaceful marriage. And that's where you hear the term happy wife, happy life that people have completely taken out of context, just like any other scripture that you've heard, right? Projection is loud, healing is quiet. Projection is loud, healing is quiet. I've seen women attack others online for choosing the self-development path, all while they're miserable in silence in the life that they chose. How do I know that they're miserable in silence? Because misery loves company. And when you attack people that you don't know for reasons you don't understand, you are showing your hand. If your femininity requires other women to be small, it was never real. And a lot of these women mask using truth, which is actually masked rage, masked nastiness. A lot of these women are just nasty and they want to beat down on people. That's not right. Just because you've been married, just because you have a husband does not make you better or higher than anyone else. And because there's an epidemic of lack of those that are willing to do the self-work and take on real self-accountability and look at their self-reflection and see how they show up and adjust the things and remove the things that they no longer need that keeps them in this hate cycle. Because there's such a lack of that and it's so abundant even in relationships. That is the reason why people don't want to listen to you. How you present and how you show up is exactly how people will see you and your character. It goes along with the saying when parents used to tell their kids, you are a reflection of me. You are a reflection of your marriage too. So just remember, the soft life doesn't argue and it doesn't compete. It simply observes and evolves. I can't believe I had to tell people to be a lady. You ready for your reflection? All right, let's do it. If you weren't trying to prove anything to anyone, what would your femininity look like? I would like to believe that my community is just a beautiful community. I see you guys commenting in the comment section. I see you guys showing up. I see you guys supporting. I love it, love it, love it, love it so much. And hopefully my energy is where it needs to be to draw in the right people. If you know and you have a strong light, you attract all different type of people, right? I think that the people that really support and stick around and stay, they are high vibration energy. And I love that. I love y'all. Just in case I haven't already said it. There, I'm saying it, okay? Now, let's get into the next one. Centering men, even when you think that you're not, is one that goes down in the books. So many women empower themselves and think that they're on the right path and they're doing what they need to do to fight for our rights and femininity and feminism and everything, right? It's all with good intention, but it's also coming from, sometimes, most times, a place of still centering men. Girl, I know, so frustrating. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Whether you're rebelling against men or obsessing over them, you're still making them the main character. Something that I like to do, and it's the premise of what I'm going to go into detail about here, right? I completely ignore people. Now, it is something that's pretty cold and pretty sadistic. I must say that I do have a sadistic type personality, especially when it comes to evoking karma. Once I decide your presence is not worthy of my attention and energy, you can physically feel me remove your existence from my reality. The person that you thought you knew, you no longer know her. She's completely gone. She's so far away, even though I'm right in front of you. Whenever you're rebelling, protesting, or trying to prove something, if men are the center of that mission, you're not free. Have you ever heard that saying, you cut your nose to spite your face? Whenever you cut your nose to spite your face, the literal meaning is when you try to do something to enact some type of revenge, you end up fucking yourself in the end, basically. That's kind of what this is like. So every time I say decenter men, it's removing you away from the chaos. It's removing you away from giving your energy to them, irregardless of whether it's positive or negative. You give your energy back to yourself. And my right ear is ringing, so spirit is with me. A lot of these moments is to balance out the control that men have over women, right? We want to make things equal. Well, I'm just going to say this because my eyes have been opening to other individuals outside of my community, and I've noticed that their intent actually is not what we think it is. So I'm staying out of their mess, okay? I'm talking to us that understand what I'm saying. We want equality. We want equality. Now, whether we're going to be able to get equality in peace, I don't know. Whether we're going to be able to ever have equality, I don't know. But right now, that's the goal, okay? Whenever you're performing for men or performing against them, they're still in control. Many times you're being told to stop caring about men and to center yourself. And it's like, okay, how do I do that? And then you're told to heal. Well, I'm telling you to heal. That's how you do that. But a lot of people are hard-headed. They don't listen. Even if they do know how to heal and I gave you everything on a full platter, you still would not do what's necessary because you have to face yourself and be vulnerable and honest with who you are. You have to see yourself and your mistakes, and you have to learn how to love yourself and your mistakes. Taking your energy and attention away from men should not be done out of spite. It should be done out of love of self. That is where a lot of people get derailed. That's why it seems like women that are fighting for feminism are angry and bitter. The source of the intention of what they're doing is coming from anger. It's coming from rage a lot of times. It's coming from insecurity. It's coming from feeling small. It's coming from being belittled. It's coming from resentment. But when you heal, when you begin to love yourself, and it's coming from love for you, when it's coming for curiosity of how much more you can feel whole and valued by yourself, it creates a completely different image. It quantum jumps you from the pain that you're experiencing to a brand new reality, to the point that you don't even understand why you never saw this path. All of a sudden you open yourself and your eyes to a whole nother path. Feminine energy flourishes when it's not reactive. When you do things because you want to do it, that is when everybody heads turn. Now, I am going to give you a precaution. You're going to experience jealousy from other women. It's just what it is. If you're in a higher vibration, you'll realize that people are drawn to you and just want to do for you. They're drawn to you. They want to help you. They want to do for you. They're engulfed by you. Their eyes glisten in a certain type of way when they are around you and they listen to you and they talk to you. There's just something about you that makes you majestic. That's real. But it's because you have removed any and everything from your center. It doesn't just have to be men. It can be work, girl. A lot of you guys are workaholics. It could be suffering. A lot of you guys are putting suffering in the center where you belong. Remove that suffer, girl. Just because you are removing the suffering doesn't mean that you're going to fall off and not do what you need to do to ensure that you're not going to suffer anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? A lot of you are putting things in your center and giving yourself reason to believe it has to be in a center. A lot of you are putting caregiving in the center and nurturing in the center. It's you. It's not even just men. It's not even just children. It can be inanimate objects. It could be a belief system. It could be your parents. Your parents still run you, even though you're at an age where it's ridiculous to allow them to sway you in a way that you don't want to go. And a lot of us, we don't have healthy relationships with our parents, and that's looking kind of natural. You won the lottery in family if you have really good parents. But even that suffering, you don't have to make it a big deal or a big thing. It doesn't have to have this cloud over your horizon. A lot of times we make facts the center, and facts will bring you down as well, because how the hell are you going to manifest a new reality that you're supposed to feel is real when you can't even do that because you keep swatting yourself down, telling yourself that that's not possible for you? Decenter all of that, girl. Not just men. There's a lot that you have to unpack. There's a lot that you have to decenter. And I feel it. Like, I'm feeling this energy in me right now. This is why I'm like hell bent on repeating. Decenter it, whatever it is. You don't have to put weight on yourself to feel like you have value. You should be valuable as is to yourself. This is not one of those things where you have to prove your value to a man. You don't think you're valuable. That's why when people ask people those questions, they don't know what to say, or they try to say some type of highlight reel that they've seen. There's an essence of you that just understands. And those that get it, get it. Those that don't. And you don't explain it. Not because it's demure to not explain it. You don't explain it because you don't have to. Only a man that has done the work and he's in his masculine will be able to see your worth. But a lot of people see your worth and they try to gaslight you into believing that it's not there. And because you aren't in your center, you allow them to lead you astray. Hey, you need to stop that. That ends today. And we're going to address the elephant in the room. Whatever you're attracted to sexually, that is also very telling about what's in your center. If you're attracted to status, convenience, attraction, material things and objects, if that gets you wet, you need to go meditate and pray and take a nap. Okay? At this big age, that's not where it's at. And let me say something as well. When you're in your 20s, generally speaking, now everybody's hormones are all out of whack and just going crazy because there's all this type of stuff in the water that I'm not even going to get into right now. But I will say, typically when you're younger, your body is going crazy over reproduction and our animalistic natural behavior without training the mind, without training the body, without aligning with the spirit. All your body wants to do is to come down here and make babies. As painful as that crap is, okay? And if you guys want me to get into like childbirth and actually do a video about that, I can do one. And we can have a little chat about that as well, because there was so much that I wish that I knew and understood when it came to childbirth. Oh my gosh, I was led astray. So if you are in the medical field, please comment down below so that we can communicate. And I don't want to give misinformation. Just help me out there. But I know that my experience was not what I expected at all. And the only type of education I had was movies. Or if you go to a childbirthing class that I did not go to. So, there's a lot that takes place in giving birth. So if you guys wanted me to talk about that, let me know down below, okay? But we have to stop letting our sexual energy be aroused by exterior stimuli. And instead, we need to acquire spiritual resonance. When you stop being turned on by status, charm, aesthetics, and stand in being turned on by the soul, connection, presence, that's when you've been rewired. If you're unhealed, this may sound like I'm saying, don't worry about all of those things, just take any old body. Hell no, that is not, you should know that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you already know your own value and you understand, you've cleaned up a lot of your triggers and how you show up as this positive light, this enforcer of positivity, or not even just positivity, wisdom, encouragement, You're able to inspire. You're able to speak life into somebody. You're able to know when to be able to console someone in a way that motherly. It's more like being in a position of emperor, empress. When you have this sort of dignity, you just understand how to move. When you're in that essence and that energy, you're not going to attract somebody that doesn't have all of the things that used to turn you on. It's just that when they have that stuff and they come into your presence, that is not enough to excite you. That's not enough to make you feel like you need to give this person all of your jewels, all of your knowledge, all of your wisdom, all of your time, all of your energy, all of your everything. It's not enough. Once you start to heal yourself, and you may see it now, even though you are not healed, right? But once you begin to heal, whoever is in your life, they get like the residuals of your blessings. Something in their life changes. Having that close proximity to you is more than enough to catapult their life. That is your power. If that's your power, that's what it is. You don't give any of that willy-nilly just because they're in position of where they should be. Now we need to look at, are they emotionally intelligent? Are they mature? Are they able to come into your life and allow you to either continue to be this light and this vibrant being without weighing you down? Or are they also able to help you expand on that? Any man that treats his woman well is blessed tenfold. This is not just a scripture. This is not just spiritual talk. This is facts. This is how you break through any of the matrix. When you live it, you know it. You bring favor to everyone's life, but you have to learn how to bring favor to your own first. When I went through this process, being courted wasn't enough. I was grateful. But what else can you do? What else is there to you? Are you able to work with me? Are you able to help me shine? Because you being in my presence is already benefiting you. You are already receiving favor from the divine because I am in tune with the divine. That within itself is the favor. And when people rise, they often lose sight of why they're rising because they don't know your value. Do not give that freely. Okay? Take your time in allowing people to experience your full essence. Instead of using sex or seduction to reel people in, they shouldn't even be seeing that until you already know that they are literally locked in. And even when they're locked in, there should be levels to your intimacy. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Because your body shouldn't be a business card. And your energy isn't a performance. For all of the spiritual girlies out there that have divine power and know how to wield their power, for all of the religious girlies out there that know how to really be a prayer warrior, okay? You don't give that out freely. Be very careful about giving too much. You shouldn't be giving out your energy. You should be brewing your energy within yourself. And then when it overflows and they just happen to have access to it because you vetted them first, then okay, that's fine. The soft life is not a performance. It's not about ease without effort. It's about creating a life that feels good because it's true. And the truth begins with you choosing yourself again and again, even when it hurts. So take the pressure off, peel back the performance, and remember, you don't have to be anyone else's version of soft. You just have to be yours. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. I genuinely enjoyed your space and your time. That's my time. I will see you later. Peace, love, and a little bit of spice. Mwah.